All right, welcome to this class on activating your karmic mission. Yesterday on Thanksgiving, I put a class up about your karmic path. It is the energetic signature of your astrology that I wanted to point out to each one of you so you could see how your karmic path is unfolding in your life, how it shows up in your life, how you can use those energies to really support the mission and purpose that you have on this path. Today, I'm going to talk about in this class that I've recorded a while ago. This is about getting things cleared away so that your karmic mission and path can flow through you, because there are plenty of blockages that we always put in our way, and let's get them out of our way so we can really embrace the thing we're here to do, the mission and purpose we're here to do. So I hope you enjoy this class. If you missed yesterday, I'll put a link to that yesterday's class in the description box below. If not, I hope you enjoy this class. Get a pen and paper and get ready to take notes.
All right. Hi, everybody. How are you? Welcome in. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, hot Vegas. Yes. Hello from Michigan, California. Oh, my goodness. People from everywhere. Hi, everybody. So tonight is oops, see, I did that. That was me. Okay. Tonight is a bit of a different class. Hi from India. My goodness. Brownsburg. Hello. Tonight is a bit of a different class than we usually do. And you'll not be surprised to hear that I have some astrology in here. I have some other things in here, but I'm not really going to focus on that tonight. It's part of the notes. But one of the things that I have been aware of over this last, I'm going to say 6 months, this channel has all really been about learning, about awareness, and being aware of what's, your shadow, being aware of your astrology chart, being aware of all these things. But I think we're starting to shift. I'm starting to shift into a little bit more of an approach of, okay, what do I do with that now? Okay, how do I work with this? How can I move myself along? How can I do this? This is a class about actual practical steps that you can take in order to access your cosmic mission. Now, it's not that learning astrology isn't something that you learn and something that you do and all of that kind of stuff. But this is different. This class is touching on more of a healing kind of aspect. And I do shy away from the word healing a little bit because I'm aware that, my job is storytelling, and my job is more about, it can likely move into more of an emotional healing kind of experience. But I am definitely here holding space for anyone who is on the channel and looking to shift their life, looking to take advantage of some of the information and go to the next level. So y'all are here because you are interested in that. And this class to me is practical and has application for you in your daily life, and something that I'm trying to connect some dots here for some people, because we're going to talk a little bit. A lot of you probably know a lot about chakras, the regular chakra system. A couple of weeks ago on our Wednesday live, I was just talking with Colleen about this. I went to see Dr. Joe Dispenza, and that was something that was another dot for me, right? Like all of these things. So I'm seeing how a lot of these things are connecting, and I'm bringing that to you. Okay. And that's what my job is here to do. So a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. If you have questions, please put them in the Q&A. I'm going to go through this material. Colleen, if there's something that someone asks while I'm talking about it, please break in. This is the first time I'm really presenting this class, so I really want to make it as interactive as possible. All right. So we can talk and we can work through this. But, some of the things for me were kind of disparate pieces of information, and I want to bring them all together in this presentation for you guys tonight. So I hope you enjoy it, and I hope it's helpful for you. I hope there's a few aha moments. So I'm going to share my screen here, and let's see. I'm going to share my screen. And then here, let's see this. Sorry, this is getting in my way. All right. Enter full screen. All right. So I called this activating your cosmic mission, because for me, this is something that brings a couple of my passions together. It brings together, how do I get to the next step? It brings together a little bit of, what am I here to do? What is my mission and purpose? And I know a lot of you on the channel, that's one of your primary things too. Like, okay, I have this spiritual awakening. All right, twin flame journey. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All of these things going on. But what's the mission and how do I really connect with this? And it's one thing to watch a reading and feel a resonance, which is absolutely legit. If you're feeling resonance from readings, I'm not just talking about me, I'm talking about anything that's coming up in front of you, anybody who's doing a reading or anybody who is bringing a synchronicity to your plate, no matter what. Like, all of these things have relevance to what you're doing here on this planet. And to me, this is something about, okay, let's advance this one step. All right, let's advance this one step. So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about the Ascension Path. And I'm just kind of jumping right in here, wanting to know your higher purpose. That's been a big question for most people on the channel, and definitely for me in my lifetime. I have been someone who has been a constant seeker of that information. I want to talk with you more about the 12 chakra system. Some of you may know a lot about this. Some of you may know nothing about this. So I'm going to basically talk about this in a very introductory way. I'm really interested to hear your own feedback and your own experiences. Some of you are really into yoga and other things. I have to say, I'm not that really much into yoga. I've done it a couple times. For some reason, I mean, I am so much air. I am all about learning from people and learning things. And then my new kind of expression is going to be physical. I'm bringing this information into my physicality. So, thank you for asking these questions, because it improves my life to research and to do the work and to, ask my guides for help and assistance and bring something new to the plate here, or new to the table here. So I'll talk with you about the 12 chakra system and how they reveal your soul's purpose. I'm going to bring you, I have a chart in here about how to know which ones are out of balance or blocked. And particular, I'm going to talk with you. I'm not going to go through in too much depth some of the ones, the 10th, 11th, 12th, or the 11th, 12th, actually. I am going to talk about the Earth star, the soul star, and the spirit star. I'm going to talk mostly about those three. And I will give you some, for those of you who are new to the chakra system, I will do a sort of an anchoring in the chakras that when we talk about the chakra system, we always talk about. I'll talk a little bit about that. And then really this is about how to heal, tools for healing and activation, because there's a couple things going on here. There is clearing, there is balancing, so that information can flow. When I am reading tarot, when people are dipping into the Akashic records, when people are, doing any kind of work where they connect with their higher self, and that, even if you don't know the names of these chakras, never heard of these chakras, when you're doing this work, you're dipping into them, whether you know it or not. So this might be something that you've been doing for a long time and just may not have known about it. So we're going to talk also about recommended practices for staying open, and spiritual practices requiring a clear chakra path. I put together a meditation for all of you. It's in with the teachable documents everywhere where you found this this workbook and everything like that. The meditation that Jude edited for me today is in there. We also put in a half-hour live or 35-minute live I did right as I got back from Dispenza's talk. And I talked a lot on there about the 8th and 9th chakra, and I talked about the quantum plane, which is where we're going here, okay? Not just in our spiritual path, but where we're going with this information, right? It's leading us to be able to be in the quantum field. It's leading us to be able to manifest without time, okay? And all of these things are connected to what I'm talking about with the higher chakras. And I will talk, of course, a little bit about the North and South Node. I gave you at the end of this workbook, I'm not going to talk through it, but I gave you at the end of the workbook my slides for the North and South Node. And I'm happy to answer questions about that if you've already, sort of learned about this. And if you haven't, I will do a brief overview of North and South Node if that's something that you're wanting. And so please put that in the Q&A if you're wanting me to, go into more depth about that, or you have questions about that. I'll try to get through this information as quickly as I can so we can start communicating and talking. Okay, so let's keep going. So Ascension and Awakening, awakening to this ascension path, y'all have had likely some experience with awakening, otherwise you wouldn't really be caring about this information. Some of us have been on the path longer, some of us are just awakening. It's, my own work that I do on my own here, and I'm learning myself as I'm teaching, which is really an interesting experience. But we are at the precipice of another major awakening this year. And there's a lot of people on the path. I am absolutely aware that my channel is filled with teachers and healers and guides and mystics and shamans. And a lot of you, like I said, probably have a lot of experience with this information on a physical level with yoga or something like that. But if we're here talking about it from a what's my mission perspective, I think then sometimes people get turned around like, all right, well, this is my physical practice. I work with my chakras. I clear my chakras because I'm looking to be clear and balanced and all of that. But how does it really relate to my mission? And that's what I'm going to talk about tonight. So you might start asking these big questions of why am I here? The search for fulfillment and meaning is a big one on the spiritual path and the ascension path, awakening to this ascension path, because that's what we're being pushed to do. So some people can experience it like they've been going along in their life and then they're just like, what the hell am I doing? I don't know. This is not where I should be. That's what happened to me. I had a reading, an astrology reading, and I just started getting these downloads and downloads and downloads, and everything kind of in my marriage just went sideways, and it didn't work anymore. There was just all of this kind of experience of cognitive dissonance really for me until I started learning and understanding what was going on. And it was clear to me that my life was going in a different direction. And that was in 07 into 08. And so I've been on this path ever since. I've had some big dips in there. It's, not as y'all will attest to it, not a linear thing in most cases. And, the desire for the central purpose and mission is really the thing that got me to wake up and be like, what the hell am I doing here? Why am I wasting my time? All due respect to a very kind man I was married to, all due respect to him and, the life I had created, but there was just very little meaning. And then it just fell away. As soon as I understood that, it just fell away. So I did have an intense desire to connect with my spirit guides more directly. That is still an evolving thing that's happening. Sometimes I'm getting, my clairsentience has opened up. I've always been clairaudient ever since I was little. And, other things are starting to open up now that I'm working with this information. So, this really is about getting access, not only to information, but seeing the path more clearly. Now, I don't mean like the physical path or anything like that, but things just start showing up. And it's funny, I was talking to Colleen earlier today, and I had all these like big revelations about what to do about the channel and where we want to take it and all this kind of stuff. And Colleen so astutely reminded me, like, we've been around here before, like we've talked about this before. And I'm acutely aware of my own like cycles that I'm going through about what's important to discuss at what time. What am I supposed to be, what are the readings supposed to be? And like, you can't push it. You just gotta like do it. And I think, yes, this morning's morning message is an excellent example of that, because I did that reading and I was like, I don't have any idea what I just said and what information was even important in that reading. And I read the comments and it blew my mind, just like how many people were connecting with what I said. And how that happens is you just have to let go, and you dip up into this eighth chakra, you dip up into these higher levels of connection when you're clear. And if you're not clear, you're going to get a lot of garbled stuff, and that's going to make you even more confused. So even though I had just released the need to make sense, have the reading make sense to me. I was like, this makes no sense to me. I'm going to say what's coming through. I have no idea who this is for. And apparently it was for somebody. So I just want to give you a little confidence when you're working with guides or trying to open to your guides to connect with them. I said it today, you've got to ask, you've got to give them permission. And then there's a bit of gratitude that follows. Right, you got to ask the question, you got to listen, you got to give them permission to, take action for you, give you protection or give you information, and then you give them gratitude. And I forgot that. I was like, oh yeah, I've got to ask, right? Like all of these things. And if you're kind of garbled in your chakras, in your energy system here, it's going to come across as garbled. So keep that in mind as we're working through this information tonight. So I really want to help you guys activate your spiritual gifts and increase your spiritual realm awareness, because when you get resonance from a reading I do, or from anything really, you see a cardinal outside, or your mother's name is Rose and you see a rose in the middle of a season where you shouldn't see a rose and all that kind of stuff. Anything like that is really just awakening you to the experience and to the information is already in you. So resonance is just like me looking at you and going, oh, I see that this is in there, and I see that's in there, I see that's in there, and you going, oh yeah, that makes sense to me, because it's already in you. It's not me, it's me connecting with a collective unconscious, me connecting with this plane of information that y'all are dipping into. All right, y'all doing this, and maybe unconsciously, I certainly was for a very, very long time. So the role of the chakras, like I said, some of you may know a lot about this. The role is your energy centers. It is housing spiritual information as much as pure energy, right? It is the architecture of your soul. These energy centers is how stuff moves between you and your guides, you and Gaia, you and the earth. So you and God, and you and earth. And in between here is your soul mission and your purpose and all of this. So when things flow, it just comes back and forth, and you're grounded, you're connected to your spirit guides, and like it's just coming. And sometimes it doesn't. And that is when you have either overactive chakras or blocked chakras or something along those lines. So there are 7 main chakras. I will touch on those because I want to make sure I'm giving you full information. Not everybody has a huge grounding in this information, so I'll go through that. Some say there's up to 114 or 120 is the biggest number I've read. Let me just say this to you. There is a lot of conflicting information out there on this topic, especially the names of the higher chakras, the purpose of the higher chakras, because they're all spiritual in nature. You can read that it's actually the 9th chakra. Oh no, wait a second, it's the 11th chakra. Like you can read a lot of stuff. So it took me quite a while to sort of parse through this and get to the place that I was like, yes, this feels right to me. And that's what I'm presenting to you. I'm not alone in what I'm presenting to you. It's not like I've made some kind of big discovery or anything, but I want to communicate it in a way that makes sense. So I did read a ton about all of this, and there's quite a bit of information that is trying to be unique, I think. Anyway, so chakras are the energetic expression of who we are and who we came here to be. It holds the secrets about how you feel about yourself and the world, your relationships, what you believe is possible for you. If you let yourself access this information and these energy centers, it is, in many ways, you can really block yourself. You can mess around in the lower 3 chakras and kind of spin around and spin around and spin around. You can get locked in the higher chakras and be completely not grounded, right? There's no better or worse chakra, right? Like they all are important. So I want to say that nothing will happen of any consequence in these higher chakras. You'll have these like flares of intuition and stuff like that. Like you won't be able to control it. You won't be able to access it when you want to, if your lower chakras aren't really in alignment. If you haven't done this kind of daily or weekly, at least weekly, but like daily hygiene of your chakras is an excellent, which is why yoga is such a great thing, right? Because you're doing this practice that is aligning you. And I'll give you a couple of ways to work with them. I'm not even really going to talk about yoga tonight because I don't know that much about it and I don't want to mess around in that. I want to really talk about the connection to intuition and higher spirit, your higher self and spirit guides, because that's what my experience has shown me that I've been doing all along. So this is the 12 chakra chart. It's actually 13 chakra chart. Now, some of the charts, like I said, there's a lot of different information out there. Some of the charts have you see number 10 below the person. Now, some of the charts call that 0. Some of the charts call that 10. You see 10 is missing from above. Okay. There's some where the 10th chakra is off to the side. For all intents and purposes, I am using the Earth Star chakra as 0. Okay. And so when you see it and you see it as 10, just know that some people call it 10, some people call it 0. It didn't really seem to me that anybody provided a really good explanation as to why one is better than the other or anything like that. I think we're talking about something that, ironically enough, is non-hierarchical, even though it's exactly a hierarchy, but it's something that all of them do work together and all of them are needed in order for you to really flow with this energy. So the ones we usually talk about, the chakra number 1 is the root or base chakra, which is about your grounding, is about your stability, is also about your feeling safe. Okay. Number 2 is the sacral chakra, and I have a lot more information to go. I would just cursorily glance over these. The sacral chakra, which is your womb chakra. Okay. The solar plexus is about your power right in the middle here. Heart chakra is about your ability to love and feel compassion. Throat chakra is about your ability to communicate. The third eye is intuition, and the crown is connection to universal information and universal love. And with the other chakras, we're going to get more nuance with the crown, because you're going to see that the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th chakras have more levels of that. Okay, so the crown is basically an opening to those things. All right, so I'll talk more about these in a second, but the 7 major body chakras, and then there are the 5 transpersonal chakras, right, outside of your body. And we do have these energetic expressions of ourself in the bodies that exist beyond us, like the etheric body and other kinds of bodies. I didn't go too much into that either. I really want to focus on the chakras, but we have energy outside and around us. And as anybody will attest to you, when someone walks right up behind you, you damn well know it, right? And you also know, I don't know if you've ever expressed this or experienced this or messed around with this, but if you are in a situation, frequently I find myself in a place where I'm not able to move, and there's somebody near me that just is like, I don't want to be near that person, but I really can't get away. So I'm like kind of pushing that person away, right? You're kind of using this energy to kind of push out. You're puffing up your energy, and you're also protecting yourself by doing that. And it's interesting to see people's reactions when you do that. Or if you stand too close to somebody, what someone will do and all of that. So that's the energy fields that are outside of your body. Okay. And so each of these 12 major chakras does correspond to the layers of the aura. So I saw someone the other day, we were talking about auras. I forget when we were talking about this, Colleen, but someone was saying, yeah, my aura is rainbow and my aura is this and my aura is that, but there's actually like, it's bigger. All right. It's bigger than just what's right around you. It's a little bit expanded on that score. And these chakras do correspond to this layers of energy that are outside your body. So it's kind of fascinating to see when you're really activated, boy, are you experiencing energy really broadly. And Mel used to talk about, he's the twin flame coach I used to talk to all the time, who passed away a few years ago. He used to talk about, you know, the bubble love part of being in a twin flame. And what he was expressing was really, when you're in that twin flame bubble love phase, you are expressing out to the 12th chakra and around you. Okay. You really, and he was even like pushing it beyond that, like to surround your house and surround your town. Like the energy of love is so strong that he could see the bubble just expanding even further out. So I wish he was around right now so I could talk with him about this, because it's kind of fascinating to me right now. So we talked about the 7 basic energy centers: the root, the sacral, the solar plexus, the heart, the throat, the third eye, and the crown. And those are the ones we normally talk about. We're going to talk about what it's like when those are underactive or overactive, and ways that you can clear them, because you're not really going to be able to access the earth chakra, the 0 chakra, or the 8th, the soul star chakra, where your spiritual gifts are housed, the 9th chakra, which is the seat of the soul, the Akashic records. And again, these may be called different names when you look at different you know, people who have written about them. 0 is the earth star or grounding chakra, and that makes the root chakra look kind of weak. The earth star chakra is known as the billionaire chakra, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. The 10th chakra, in my reading, is the universal connection gateway. So that is after the 9th. It's up here. It's much further up, and it can expand. It doesn't have to just be, well, the 8th chakra is right above my head. But I want you to, when you're meditating, I want you to like put your hands up and just feel it. It's like, okay, I can feel the resistance a little bit to this chakra. And I have been able to feel like the resistance come out like this far. When I'm really tuned into my reading, I can really feel. And so it's not that far above my head. Sometimes it's a little bit further, but these chakras do expand. So as opposed to the body, where they're really kind of energy centers that have a place, right? These are the ones that when your energy expands, they kind of do expand too. I've seen it written that the soul star chakra, which there's a lot written about, can even be like 1.5 feet above your head. So you don't have to get too stuck on that. It's my estimation that if you are really connected, that it does kind of expand, and it can contract too. Okay. So that 10th chakra, the universal connection and gateway. The 11th chakra is the quantum path. And that's what Dispenza was talking about so much, about quantum, where there is no time, you know, manifestation is immediate. We are basically getting out of our own habits, our own selves, and really existing in a time, in a space where we are no longer particles, but we're waves. All right. That's how physics represents us. And so things can automatically happen. Whereas when we're in this particle body, in this 3D body, the physical expression of that wouldn't happen, because it doesn't go along with the rules of the road here on the 3D plane. The 12th chakra is ultimate unity. And I think that this does relate to people who are, you know, Buddha-esque enlightened people, right? That 11th, 10th, 11th, and 12th chakras are, you know, you're really up there in terms of your connection to spirit. And it's much more what your life becomes. I really believe that most of us who are spiritually advanced, I don't know, advanced, but like connected, plugged in, we regularly dip into the 8th and 9th chakra and don't even know we're doing it. The 10th, 11th, and 12th chakra, I believe, requires some real healing, okay, some, you know, real work on your own ways of being in the world, in effect. So we can talk about that if you'd like to. All right, so I put this was a little more information on each of the ones we're going to talk about tonight. The Earth Star chakra that is below, and I'll go to my slide here because it might be, I have more information there. But the Earth Star chakra is the chakra that connects you to Gaia. It really is below your feet. And in that meditation, you'll notice that I'm talking about like roots coming out of your feet, going into the earth. But there is this ball of energy. I'm asking you to kind of visualize this ball of energy. So it's the roots, and it's that very much like a tree, right? A root ball, and then the roots go even deeper. And this is really about the life force of the earth. And so whether I've also seen it discussed that, no, you want all the light to come in from the top and go down. And I'm here to say, I feel like when it's flowing, when things are really flowing, you're getting the earth energy, you're getting Gaia energy coming up and running through as much as you are getting the light coming down through you. So I don't play favorites in terms of which guidance system, because a lot of times you get a lot of wonderful guidance from your physicality, from your animal nature, from your connection to earth, mother nature. Sometimes that's a really cleansing, clearing thing to be. And you might feel like the upper chakras are just kind of like airy, kind of not really anchored. And then the reverse is sometimes true. You might feel that the 3D expression, the connectedness to earth might make you feel like you're too, like you can't, you know, kind of move. And in which case those higher chakras can really help you. And as with anything, every single thing I'm doing, we are living in a world that is all about polarity. Next week on Wednesday in the live, I'm going to talk about the law of polarity. We are living in this world of dark and light, day and night, his and hers, this and that. We're living in that kind of world. And when you learn about the law of polarity and how that works, it's same thing with North Node, South Node, it's all about balance. Every single thing we're talking about, all of these systems, you get the feeling that you want to reach for something more and you want to expand, and that's all good. But balance, there's something magical about balance. It's where our species is going. And that is, I believe, you know, if you boil it down, the ascension path is essentially the ascension path is essentially, that's hard to say, about balance. Because when you have balance, and you'll see when the chakras are balanced, then things can really flow. It's when you're pushing toward one or pushing toward another or pulling or something like that. This goes back to being in the moment. And I do think yoga teaches this very well. I think the practice of mindfulness teaches this really well, that we want to get out of our mind. We want to get out of things that are training us or have trained us in our life, and retrain ourselves to work through these energy systems, to work through this kind of pathway, because that ultimately, whether it's up here or down here, it really does bring us balance. They're all necessary. They're all necessary. Everybody's got their favorite chakra, but they're all necessary to us. So I put in some more information here about the soul star, which is the 8th chakra, which is what we're really here to talk about tonight. The spirit star and universal galactic and the divine gateway. I think I need to get to that in another lesson, because I think I need to work on experiencing that more for myself in a more practical kind of way. I know that sounds like, but that's balance, right? It's balance. All right, so let's talk about the Earth Star chakra. This is the one that's just below your feet. Some say it's almost 12 feet below. So it's definitely in the earth, kind of deep in the earth. And your etheric body does dip into this. All of the bodies, you know, all of your energy centers around you, or not energy centers, energy bands around you are inclusive of this, right? It is the non-physical extension of our energy, the ones below and the ones above. The earth star chakra is known as our super root. Okay. So if you know a lot about the root chakra that's at the base of your spine, right? This is about you feeling safe. This is about you feeling stable. That super root chakra can really anchor you to the earth, to the system bigger than yourself, to something that when the winds blow, because that root chakra can be kind of wonky, actually, right? These centers in our bodies can really be affected by what's going on in our bodies, but that super root can really keep you stable when things are blowing. So if you learn to work with this super root, this earth star chakra, that's why they call it the billionaire chakra, because it is the thing that flows the most physicality to you, and money happens to be a physicality, or flows the most experiences of that nature to you. We are connected and through our root chakra, but this is going to take it to the next level. So this center anchors the entire chakra system. The root chakra is its own energy system that needs anchoring. It does need anchoring, right? You as a human being need a little bit of anchoring. You need to be hooked into a place or a family or a friend group, or, you know, some kind of work or some kind of relationship, or some, you know, like no man is an island. And the super root really takes that one step further and says, well, it's the earth, it's Mother Earth that we're anchoring to. It connects your personal energy to the greater earthly and universal energies, right? Our karmic patterns, history of genetics, ancestral karma, all located in that earth star chakra, all located there. So when you do this, when you anchor yourself through that meditation or through your spiritual work, whatever you're doing, this is where you're going to start getting information about karmic patterns. This is where it's going to start coming from, because the chakras within your body are really about your physical body. But the one that's in the earth it's almost like taking you back generation after generation after generation. It houses DNA, or houses how your DNA is working now that you have a physical body. It's an incredible experience to work with this earth star chakra. If you're out of balance, you could feel out of tune with your surroundings. So a lot of us have felt that way, right? A lot of us have felt like, I don't know. I don't know where I am. I don't know what I'm doing. And I think the practice here is earthing. If some of you probably done this before, where you go out into the yard or into the street or whatever, and you just feel, if you can, take your shoes off and put them in the grass, put them in the earth, put them in the sand, put them wherever they are, but really feel the energetic connection between you and the earth. And that will really help you stay present. It'll bring more feelings of well-being and stability, and feeling tethered to something larger than oneself in a physical way. All right. Absolutely. In a physical way. So it is called the billionaire chakra, stability and wealth, because if most people who have reached a level of success are anchored by something, and not necessarily by the earth or by nature or anything like that, but they're anchored by who they are and what they believe they're doing here, right? They have accessed this kind of information, and that's what really creates wealth. That's what really creates abundance and flow, is the why. Okay, I believe that Simon Sinek really tapped into this. And if you don't know who he is, Simon Sinek is I think he's a researcher, or maybe I forget what his actual experience is, but he has done a TED talk about the power of your why you do things. And the why can grow, it can morph, it can change but it's essentially the same, right? It's essentially this kernel of truth that you find out about yourself that guides you, right? It really guides you. And when you're doing that, you're like more like a willow tree, right? Like you go with what's going on in your life, new opportunities come in, new people come in, but you are essentially the same. You're essentially the same, and you have, collected this information, you've collected this type of, you are all of these things, and you build a life based on that. When you lose your why, when you lose your grounding, when you lose that, that's a really weird place to be, because you're like, why am I even doing this? And I've definitely had that experience, right? I'm sure a lot of you have too, that you don't know why you're doing a thing, or you don't know, I do that. Well, I do this because I need money to pay the rent. That's not a why. That's a practical need for resources, and resources are just a result of the work you put in. But the why is the thing that gets you excited. The why is the thing that you would do even if there was no money involved. The why is the thing that gets you out of bed, gets you to talk to other people about it, gets you excited about it, gets you want to take a class about it, right? Your why has to do with that. And so there are very few people who are very successful who don't have a why. Okay, so I encourage you to go look at that. We talk about that in the spiritual business class a lot, because it really does keep people grounded, and it helps you to, it's a guidance system. So when the world starts going like this, you know where you are. So that's a big reason to start working with this Earth Star chakra, because that why will become, if you don't know what it is yet, it will start to blossom. It will start to make itself known. It will start to become obvious to you. Oh, I see, there's a pattern here, right? It will start to become obvious to you. So I love this Earth Star chakra. And it is something that I didn't realize I was working with until you put a name to it, right? Until you put a name to it. The Earth Star chakra balancing, when you balance the chakra, it helps manage anxiety, feelings of safety and security or lack thereof, the ungrounded or too spacey. It protects you against negativity, because you know who you are and you know what you're doing here. And so when people who are negative come around you, it doesn't knock you off your pins. You're not getting, you ever see those, and I definitely know these kids from school when I was growing up, that they would kind of morph into their relationships. They would almost, you ever see the like two girls walking down the street and one of them is wearing, you can tell which one is like the one who that was their outfit, and their friend is kind of copying them. Like when you are somebody who doesn't have this kind of grounding, you kind of morph into these relationships, and then you lose your way, because you're not walking your why. You're not expressing your why. And some people can be like, my why is I want to feel safe. And I think safety is with another person. And so that's what I'm going to do. But really the ultimate safety is with you. So I find this to be a super powerful, even if you don't work with any of the other chakras, well, you should, but I feel like this Earth Star chakra, to me, it has helped me time and time again when I remember to do the work, and when I'm on purpose, I sleep better. I stop using technology too much. I'm on technology all day, right? I am. And so doing these kinds of practices can really cut that kind of experience for you, and separate you and get you grounded again. And it cuts away those negative attachments, and it really transmutes the negative into the positive. Karmic issues can be resolved through this kind of work. The color of the Earth Star chakra, when it's not moving, is black. And when it's moving, it becomes a deep magenta color. And that's just for your visualization purposes. If you work with crystals, black tourmaline, black kyanite, or Merkaba stars, all can be used to work with this Earth Star chakra. The frequency of the Earth Star chakra is 68.05 hertz. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about solfeggio tones later on, and I really am into this sound healing experience, because I'm an auditory. So why wouldn't that be the first thing I would be into? But for me, the crystals and the frequency have really been super helpful. Okay. So I'm not going to go through all of these 7 chakras. We talk a lot about that. If you have questions about that, please put them in the Q&A and we'll talk more about them. But let's get to this 8th chakra, because that's really why we're here tonight. And the 8th chakra, the soul star chakra, the motto is I transcend. Okay. So if everybody saw their crown chakra as kind of like the be all and end all, this is the next level of that. This is where your higher self is. This is where it's called the seat of your soul, where you connect to your higher self and spirit. Working with this 8th chakra will help you and develop your spiritual gifts, and access to the Akashic records comes through here. Now, the Akashic records is a whole other class. I am going to have my friend Chakra in a couple of weeks. We're going to do some work around the Akashic records. If you're interested in that, please come back, because that's going to be fascinating. She does different kinds of work than I do, so it'll be great to work on this together with her. But the Akashic records are important for your own edification about your mission and path. And for those of you who don't know what the Akashic records are, this is a record of every single lifetime you've ever had, every single karmic issue or problem or realization or result you've ever had. It is, when it is your permanent record, right? Young lady, this is going on your permanent record. Oh, really? It's going in my Akashic records? It absolutely is. And this is the soul star chakra is between the crown and, that stellar gateway, right? This is the 9th chakra, is where the angelic realms are, where the archangels are, and all of that. So it's a good visual to have, but you're also aware that you are working on bringing energy through these and bringing energy back in. Downloads happen through the 8th chakra. So when someone says they're getting a download, it's definitely like a ton of information coming in. For me, I don't know how it feels like for you guys, but when I'm doing a reading and there's lots of, I literally can't say it all in one sentence. It's like words are tumbling all over each other. That's what it's like for me. And also I had this very interesting experience with someone who I was talking with on the phone, and they were just saying things so fast to me, and all of it was relevant to me. And I was trying to write it down, and I just was like, like the chicken scratch that was happening was really like almost unintelligible, because I was trying to keep up with their download and I was having downloads at the same time. And it was just like, blah, 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 blah. So just know that kind of happens. But when you work with these chakras, I'm working with this 8th and 9th chakra every day, whether I knew it or not. And when you know about it and you can create a healthy practice with it, then you're going to be able to access this at will. You'll be able to get information. You'll be able to kind of control it. All right. And as always, I want to make sure that you recognize you have to ask. You have to ask the question, give your guides permission, because we have free will on this planet and they do not interfere. Okay, they don't. But if you need them, you need to ask, and then you need to send gratitude, and you need to listen for their information or for what's coming in. And sometimes that requires you all the time, it requires you to be very present. So that's why they talk about presence, because that's the way of really hearing what's coming through or experiencing what's coming through, whatever you're clairsentient, clairaudient, clairvoyant, whatever you are, however you experience the information, it's going to be important for you to stay still. Okay. So when you work with this 8th chakra, letting go is the energy of this chakra, which is why I was explaining to you that the reading I did for this morning's message, I was like, this makes no effing sense to me. And I'm pretty sure that an earlier version of me, maybe in my 30s, would have just picked up the cards and been like, okay, I don't know what the hell's going on here, and do another reading. But this version of me is like, nope. There's a message in here. Every time I do a reading, there's a message in here for somebody. And regardless of whether it makes sense to me, who cares whether it makes sense to me? It's something that needs to get out there. And so I have this purpose now because I recognize that. I recognize that the readings are, it's not always about me understanding them. And that's proven over and over again. So I just let go. It's very much of a hanged man kind of experience where I'm just like, all right, I'm just going to allow. All right. Allow the divine, allow your higher self to infuse you with information and with healing or joy or whatever you're looking to receive. Allow it. Letting go is allowing. Trying to figure it out, that's resistance. And so I've learned that lesson many, many times. Hopefully I just don't want to ever learn it again. Old attitudes, blocks, and belief systems can be dissolved by working with the chakra. What I just said to you, right? My old attitude about readings was, oh, I've got to understand it. Oh, I've got to see a storyline that is relevant to my life or somebody else's life I know, or something like that. Absolutely not. I mean, 7 billion people. There's a lot of story on the quantum plane. There's a lot of experiences that are floating around waiting to drop themselves into someone's life. So don't be judgmental of the readings or of the experiences you have that come through as downloads. Don't be judgmental about that, because it's for somebody. And before I was doing this and I was working in television or whatever I was working in, if information came in, I would just like, okay, well, remind me of it when I'm with the person that it's relevant to. And more often than not, I would be reminded of the dream or the information when I was with a person, and I would say something and they'd be like, oh, yeah, that's important. Or they would look at me or something like that. And I was working with that for a while before I was doing readings on YouTube. And it was uncanny how messages come through you, and where they go, it's sort of like none of your business. The universe is trying, or your higher guides, your higher self, your spirit guides, sometimes you're just the conduit. Okay. The color of this chakra is white light, and there's green and gold in it. I definitely saw this a long time ago when I was in a room of 5 or 6 people, and there was a man who I thought was extremely brilliant and very kind and generous. He was also, I also found him to be kind of a nature boy, kind of like a Tarzan. And he was sitting against a white wall, and I saw his aura to be this green and gold, but I definitely saw something up here of a green and gold nature, and I didn't know what I was looking at, but now I do. So his 8th chakra was very switched on when he was talking, and he was very passionate about what he's talking about. So you can use clear dambarite. I have other recommendations for crystals and things to work with this soul star chakra. I don't really do any kind of elaborate work with crystals, but I do have them all over my house. I do charge them all the time. And I do hold them, keep them with me when I travel. I have a lot of protection stones that I carry with me. Some things are more powerful than others. Colleen has we went to a little store up in Portland, and she got a crystal. It was recommended to her by someone who was really experienced with crystals. And she was like, wow, it was really jumping for her. It was very interesting to see that. The frequency of the 8th or soul star chakra is 1074 hertz. Okay. So if you're looking for music on YouTube, just punch that in, and solfeggio tones and music will come up. There's tons and tons of stuff. I was going to give you some samples of each of these, but Jude has put together the meditation, and I felt like, well, I'm just going to give you the frequencies. Just punch it in and you'll find it. All right. On YouTube, you'll definitely find it. So the crown, our individualistic or ego-based connection to all that is, soul star dissolves this duality. When we're in this crown soul star chakra, we are merged, right? We are merged with guides, and we are all that is. There's no ego, right? What blocks your crown chakra, what blocks you from getting up into your higher self and everything, is ego, big time. All right. I'll talk about that in a little while, but When you have a balanced star chakra, you are absolutely open to whatever comes in. Like if I were to pick up those cards, that's ego. It's like, how the hell, why should I be the arbiter of what the storyline is? Why should I be like, this doesn't matter? Like that's an ego-based reaction. So we attain absolute clarity on our purpose and why we choose this incarnation through this chakra. It helps us break through limiting self-beliefs as well. When it's overactive, we can feel a little dissociated or ungrounded, lacking in purpose, or running from one thing to another. And this is not a set it and forget it experience. Those of you who work with chakras, work with energy, know that this is a practice. Okay, this is a practice. This is not a, hey, I'm open in my 8th chakra. Cool, right? Like maybe not tomorrow, but maybe today. And so just know that all of these things are practices. And if you have, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've had this experience just over the past 5 years. After I've worked with all of this stuff, after I have done these practices, after I have, said them aloud to thousands of people, I can still forget this. So I want you just to give yourself a break, okay? Because it's not like one day, like it all clicks into place and no, you're here to solve problems. You are here to be able to say, I can do this. I've done this before, or I know what I'm connected to my higher self. I'm ready to take this on. Even if I have not done this before, I believe in me. And so I feel like when people believe in themselves, there is this kind of expansion in this energy. I really do, because there's a grounded feeling to it. There's a feeling of power. There's a feeling of having my own, being of agency. I have my own way of working with it. My heart is open. My communication skills are good. My ability to see things clearly is good. So when we're feeling that way, this pipeline is really open. But when we're feeling like, I don't know if I have a purpose, or I'm just kind of casting around trying to figure something out, which can happen to the best of us. All right. Try not to get too down on yourself, because that's the purpose of the 3D life, is to get you to realize, oh, I see, I'm feeling ungrounded. I'm feeling not able to really grab onto anything. So get yourself balanced, get yourself present, right? Hook on to that Earth Star chakra and just get back into the present moment. And that will help you immensely. When this Soul Star chakra is weak, it can show up as yearning for purpose without any clarity at all. It's a constant craving for meaning and mission. This is why I'm doing this class, because I hear that all the time, that people are wanting to understand my mission. What's my purpose? I mean, there were 67 of you guys who signed up for this class in the last couple of days, and there's a certain desire for clarity in all of us, even if you know like the big picture, or you know like what you're good at, or you know what you are here to do. Sometimes it can go in and out of focus. Damn, I have Neptune and Scorpio in the first house. Shit goes out of focus for me a lot. So it's important that you realize that that's part of being human, that you can have this kind of desire for clarity and constant craving for meaning and mission. There's something you can do about it. That just means that that Soul Star chakra is weak. And so it just needs your attention. Okay. I said to you the sound healing with 1074 hertz frequency. And what I mean by that is, and I'll get to it in a second, we are going to talk about Dr. David Hawkins, all right, and his experiments. And so music has frequency, and frequency resonates with these chakras. Okay. So when you're working with a certain chakra and you're using this sound quality, you're using this frequency of music, it vibrates at the same frequency of that chakra. It can energize that chakra, okay? Meditation with energy work associated with this class, or meditation specifically on the 8th chakra. It's recommended to work with the chakras as a system, but if you feel like you're getting yourself in alignment with the core 7 that you know about, and you worked with that Earth star, and now you're on the Soul star, you can plenty of time can be spent on living in this 1074 hertz, working with crystals like clear quartz and selenite. Selenite, I have it around me for when I'm doing readings. It's sort of like the crystal that connects me to this 8th chakra, and I didn't even realize I was doing it until I did. So you can work with those and just have that. We are frequency, our bodies are frequency, everything about us is frequency. We are a bunch of particles walking around looking like we're solid. We are, we emit a vibration. Okay, this is where spirituality and science is really coming together, and the scientists can't stand it and the spiritualists can't stand that. But when I go listen to Dr. Joe Dispenza, who thinks astrology is a bunch of hooey and all this kind of stuff, he's up there talking and saying all these things. And I was like, he does believe in it. He just doesn't know he believes it. He does believe in it. I can hear it coming out of him, right? And I'm like, I can't wait for him to be like, oh, damn, I see how our signs are connected to a frequency. I can see how all of it might be part of the same system. So funny. So this 8th or soul star chakra, there is something called integrated energy healing, which I do not have any kind of connection to. I'm just saying to you, it is something about accessing high frequency life force energy. And there are lots of practitioners who work specifically with this modality. If you're interested in diving into that, I'm sure you'll find a lot of information about it, and try to find someone or find a book that is helpful to you. It might be something you'd be drawn toward. I just wanted to put it out there for you. And I've heard a lot of people talk about plant medicine practices with this. I personally have never really been drawn to it. Ayahuasca and other things. There's a lot of people in my circles and stuff who do this. And I just personally, I've never found it to be something that I'm like, oh, I've got to try this. Maybe in the future I will, but not yet. So if you feel drawn to that, that's something that you might be able to help enhance your relationship with the soul star chakra. Now, the Akashic records are located in this 8th chakra. I'm going to turn my light on here for a second. Ugh. Okay. The 8th chakra is the access point for Akashic records. This is not a class in how to access the Akashic records. It's just, I want to tell you that the 8th chakra is the pathway to it. So if you're doing this work, you're better off, you'll probably be able to access them, or if you want to go and learn about how to access them or work with a practitioner. It seems to me that working with this 8th chakra is going to make that a much more easily accessible experience for you. Okay. Astral travel, other things that we talk about that are sort of like, I don't know how I would ever connect to that. This is a way to do that. It's getting into this connection, right? Getting into that 8th and 9th chakra at least, and being able to fluidly have energy move up and down your energy centers, because this is how you are able to connect, right? It is all about that. It's all about being aligned. When you have blocks, things stop, okay? When you have a heart chakra awakening, the lower chakras all kind of get in alignment, right? The heart opens and the lower 3 get on board, okay? So if you've had trouble with your power, trouble with the womb chakra, trouble with the root chakra feeling stable, if you end up being in alignment such that you have a heart chakra awakening, those lower chakras get balanced really fast. Sometimes most of the time it's the other way around. You've got to work with those lower 3 chakras and the earth star chakra in order to have that heart chakra awakening. Okay. So Akashic records is a record of all the lives you've lived. As I've said, your present life, why you're here, what you're here to accomplish, the reason for others in your life. Some people envision this like a big library of books. Ironically enough, for being someone who studied film and is very much a creative in many ways, I'm much more of an auditory. So sort of hear like a dial of a radio, right? Like when the old fashioned radios, like when you would go through a bunch of different channels and you can't really hear any single one, but then you dial into one. That's sort of my experience of it. But a lot of people see this visual library of books and books, racks of books. They're in the astral realm. So to visit this, you must first attain a shift in your own vibrational frequency and consciousness. That's why a lot of people go to practitioners to do this, because most of the session is really getting you into that alignment, right? So they can access it. It's part of the collective unconscious. That's where all that information is stored in the collective unconscious. The easiest way is through meditation practice, not just once and done. Meditation practice, then connecting with your guides, visualization or prayer, like whatever works for you, whatever keeps you in feeling like you're in alignment, feeling like you're safe and happy and moving in a direction that is meaningful to you. Those kinds of experiences, when you're in that alignment, then you can really get up into that astral realm. I think a lot of twin flames don't necessarily, sometimes telepathy breaks through, but again, it's so infrequent. I also think I hear a lot of twin flames talking about, oh, the energy is with me, like I can't get them off me or whatever. It's because they're inconsistent with this practice, that they're unable really to control any of it, or I don't know, control is kind of a bad word, but like they're unable to manage it, let's just say, okay? And when you do this work, when you do deal with all of your energy bodies, the bodies that are around you, that energy field that's around you, you're going to find it much more manageable. That's been my experience, and a lot of experience of people that I've talked to. So I want to share that with you if you're having trouble with that. So meditation, if you're having a hard time getting your energy in line, I go right to meditation. You can use prayer, you can use whatever works for you, guided visualizations or anything like that. There is a pathway prayer, and this is something that if you do start to work with the Akashic records, there's Linda Howe. I've talked to her several times. She's I don't really know her. Like if you reached out to her, she'd probably be like, I'm not sure if I remember Mary Jo, but that's fine. But she's somebody who's written a lot of books on the Akashic records and things like that. And she has her process. And I've read a lot about her pathway prayer online. So I wanted to say that to you. If you see that out there, this is a particular prayer that is used with music of a high vibrational frequency to get you into the Akashic records. It's like an opening, right? It's an opening. Interesting stuff. The ninth star. So let's move up one. Okay. This chakra is about like I communicate, but not like this. This is the throat chakra, and that is about a communication of words that come through you, a blend of your connection to spirit, but also mostly your power, right? Your voice, your truth comes through this. The I communicate ninth is not your truth. It's the truth coming from God or from your high self, from angels, from archangels, from all of your spirit guides, everybody who's around. That ninth chakra is where that information is coming from. Okay. It's experiencing that ninth chakra. You are really at a place of time transcendence, meaning there is no time. When I did some meditation with Dr. Joe out in Denver, I really did not have a sense of time. And the time transcendence away from the third dimension here, you are definitely in this other space where there is no time. There is no, I don't know how to describe it, like in a 3D kind of way, but some of you probably undoubtedly have experienced this. I know you have, because when you're a kid and you lose track of time, right? When you're doing something you love, when you're so into something, you lose track of time. You're in your ninth chakra. Okay. So it's not all this like airy fairy stuff. It's like you do experience these things. It's just not something that you might label as time transcendence. Okay.
Hey, just a quick question. Do you work on these in any particular order?
I'm going to say to you that I think when I was talking about there's no hierarchy, but there is a hierarchy, I'm going to give you some ways of telling which ones might be out of balance or too open. And so when you do, that's why I made that meditation for you. It takes you through all of them. All right. It takes you through all the way up to the ninth chakra. I didn't go any further than that. This meditation was just about getting them all in alignment. And really, you can tell what's going on in your life. I'll talk with you a little bit about how to see which are out of balance. But like when you go through and you just send love and energy and happiness and joy and acceptance to each of the chakras, and you see them spinning and you keep moving up and keep moving up. Start with the Earth Star chakra, move up to the root, up to the sacral, up to the solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye, crown, eighth, ninth, right? You see that they're all spinning, right? They're all spinning. And that's usually how meditations go. If you do that, then what you're doing is you're not spot checking. So you're not going, okay, I'm kind of feeling lonely and depressed today. Well, that's a crown chakra issue. Or I have a lot of ego. That's a crown chakra issue. Or I can't communicate with someone. That's a throat chakra. When you do that, when you kind of spot check, if you're doing this practice and that gets out of alignment, that can happen. So you might want to send a little extra love to that, or you might want to work on that specifically. But the practice usually goes Earth Star chakra all the way up through. Okay. And then the light can come in from above, right? So it's flowing both ways. Okay. So if you do have problems with one, I recommend you do the whole system and then extra love to that one. And we'll go through, I'll show you what that might look like. Okay. Anything else, Colleen?
No, I think we have lots of great questions in here, but we'll wait.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
What time is it? Where am I? What time here?
7:11.
Okay. I see. I'm in time transcendence right now. I don't know what time it is. All right. So I'll get a little bit faster here because there's a lot kind of left here. The frequency of this spirit star is 1185, 1185 hertz, right? 1185. And in that, when you use music like that, you're really attuning yourself to that ninth chakra. The color is blue-green. It's sort of like Caribbean water. It reminds me of that when I see that. And I didn't put crystals in here. It's later in the deck. I think I forgot to go back and put them in there, but it's later in the deck. Plant medicine practices for this too. All right, for this one too. But this is for working with your spirit, with your angelic realms, light beings, star beings, awareness of your soul groups. We talked about starseed last week. So this is where that information comes through. All right, here we are. So when you have certain experiences in your life, I've heard people say this, and I was always like, kind of like, what? Like if you're having some trust issues, oh, that's your sacral chakra, right? Like you can kind of toss it off like that, but it aligns. And I was like really kind of schooled a little bit because I was like, oh, wow. So people are tossing around these terms like, oh, that's your root chakra. But actually, they're right. Okay. So if you have issues around survival, low self-worth, low self-esteem, feeling unsafe, fear, insecurity, your root chakra needs extra love. Okay. Simple. If you have problems with pleasure, people who are a little bit unable to kind of let themselves go during sex or never letting themselves take a vacation. Sacral chakra, poor intuition, trust issues, guilt, shame, emotional instability needs more love with the sacral chakra. That's the womb chakra. Solar plexus is about your power, your agency in the world. If you feel angry, helpless, irritable, feeling like a victim, solar plexus. Okay, that's blocked. Heart chakra, if you are heartbroken, feeling unloved, abandonment, separation, hatred, that's the heart chakra that needs your attention. The throat chakra, truth. I can't express myself. I can't explain or communicate effectively. I might be silent. I might give people the silent treatment, or I might lash out. I might be very judgy. Okay, that's the throat chakra. And that it means there's an imbalance here. And at the worst case scenario, it's probably blocked. Your third eye deals with issues of insight. And we were talking about this earlier, nightmares or no dreaming, poor insight, feeling stuck, in denial. The third eye needs your attention, and the crown chakra is ego. And I was always thinking ego could be more like a sacral or a solar plexus one, but ego is when you think you know better, right? Like that's really what ego is. So loneliness and depression, also loneliness and depression come from separation. Ego also separates you from the higher chakras, also separates you from your fellow man. Confusion and fogginess, your crown chakra needs your attention. Those are symptoms of blocked chakras. Now, opposite, right? We live in the polarity of blocked or overactive. Overactive root chakra, greedy, lust for power. Overactive sacral, over emotional, fixated on sex, hedonistic, manipulative sacral chakra. Solar plexus, power hungry, domineering, perfectionistic, critical, competitive. This means your chakra is like, woo, spinning out of control. And the other ones are like, what's going on? So there's too much energy there. Your heart, jealous, codependent. Codependence is in the heart chakra, self-sacrificing, giving too much. That means there's too much energy in that heart chakra. You might think there's never too much energy in the heart chakra. There is, it's just not really flowing either one way or another. So you could say there's some kind of blockage that's making it be like, woo, too much. And it's because of these symptoms that you can see that, all right? And you can then work with it. When your throat chakra is overactivated, loud, opinionated, critical, gossipy, harsh words, talking over others, not letting others speak. The third eye, nightmares, overactive. So nightmares on both ends, okay? Underactive and overactive. A nightmare in the third eye is overactive is about delusion and hallucinations and obsessions, sees and attracts negative spirits to it. So that's when it's overactive, like you're really wanting more to come in, but you're not being careful enough to protect yourself. Crown, ego, dogmatic, judgmental, spiritual snob. We've seen a lot of those, haven't we? Addiction and ungrounded. So when someone's in that crown energy and just being like, oh, all y'all, can kiss my ring, that's an overactive chakra. So when it's balanced, it should be the root chakra. People should feel safe and secure. Sacral, passion and healthy libido, optimistic, creative. The solar plexus as balanced, confident. Confidence is the word for that one. Heart, when it's balanced, peaceful, compassionate, loving, forgiving, forgiveness. Forgiveness comes up again here, I think, later on, but definitely a heart chakra that's balanced allows for forgiveness and tolerance. The throat chakra, confident of expression, clear communicator. The third eye, when it's balanced, very imaginative. Your intuition flows easily, clear thoughts and vision. I saw someone today who said they have no vision for their life. They don't really know what they want to. That's needing third eye attention. So when you have a balanced third eye chakra, you may not see like the full thing, but you kind of have a sense of it, right? And you don't know how all the bricks are going to fall into place, but you have a sense. The crown chakra, when it's balanced, universal love, strong faith and trust, intelligent, aware, wise, and understanding. There's a certain amount of tolerance in all of these. So if there ever gets to a point where it becomes intolerant of an outside opinion or something like that, then we're into the blocked place again, or the overactive. So now I want to talk to you about Dr. David Hawkins. We've talked a lot about frequency tonight. We've talked a lot about the vibration and the experience of how the sound, right? The hertz, the solfeggio tones, and the frequency of music impacts the frequency or the vibration of our chakras, right? I want to give you this, and I want to talk about Dr. David Hawkins. He wrote a book called Power versus Force. He wrote a lot of books, okay? This guy he died about 10 years ago. A PhD, very bright. And he was working with muscle testing, using a unique muscle testing method. David Hawkins conducted thousands of calibrations. And basically what he wanted to see, this is called a map of consciousness. It's a little bit out of phase, sorry about that. But basically what he was trying to prove is that when we have an emotion, we have anger, or we have frustration, or we have joy, or we have peace, or something like that, there's a certain frequency to it. And you can see how that would align with your chakras, right? You can see how that being more balanced, which puts you higher on the scale, means it's vibrating in a higher way and creates this peaceful energy, or it creates an energy center that's working, that's not blocked, that's not overactive, is more balanced. And the higher you get up in this frequency, the higher you go up in your consciousness. So if you're anchored, so the positive experience, what I want to get across here is that just because it's the Earth Star chakra and the root chakra and sacral and solar plexus doesn't mean it's lower on the scale. We want them to be balanced, okay? So we want them, so a lot of some of these expressions of your feelings, right? Anger, pride, courage, neutrality, willness, acceptance. When we get into that green level, we can feel those things balanced in all of our chakras. We can feel these higher vibration expressions of our feelings as a more balanced person. The lower you get on the scale, the more out of balance you are, right? So don't think the red down here corresponds to the root chakra, because it doesn't, all right? This is about level of vibration. Our goal here is to have all of the chakras be in balanced vibration, balanced, right? Spinning too much and you're going to get too much of a good thing, all right? So I wanted to share this with you. I do recommend that you take a look at David Hawkins' work, because I feel like this gives us a sense of where we are when we talk about, oh, they're very much in the third dimension still, or they're in the fourth dimension, or I definitely have accessing the fifth dimension. All of these things do connect, right? All of these things do connect, and it's all based in our feelings. Every single thing I've talked about tonight has a basis in balance, has a basis in our feelings. When we feel, it's fine, it's good to feel your feelings, even if they are shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear. It's only when we press them down do the chakras get clogged up, right? We all have grief, we all have fear, we all have shame, we all have desire. We all go through all of these. And so I think sometimes when people work with the chakras, they get a sense of higher is better, right? And I'm suggesting to you that balance is the achievable, and the thing to achieve here is balance. And when, especially as you're getting up into the fifth dimension and you're working with these, higher chakras, you're working with this, being balanced is even more. That's why I wanted to talk tonight about the Earth Star chakra. Being balanced is even more important, because then you are like the willow tree. So when you get up into these kind of rarefied air, you're not losing connection with your humanity. You're not losing connection with your heart. You're not losing connection with your throat chakra or your third eye. All of them are just working together, okay? And your feelings can show how balanced all of these chakras are. If you're wicked out of balance, if you're always angry and frustrated, then as I went through that other chart, you're going to see that that's going to close one down, and that causes you to be in lower vibration. So we talk about low vibration, talk about high vibration. This is what we're talking about. Okay. So here you go. Here's your chart of the solfeggio tones for chakra healing. I have aligned them all. All right. And I didn't do the Earth Star or the 8th or the 9th, but these are the 7 that go right here. Because if these aren't the ones that are in your body, if these aren't aligned, you're not getting the Earth Star, and you're also not getting the 8th and 9th. right? You're not getting it with any regularity. You keep dipping in and out. You keep getting unclear about what you're doing. So this is a chart for you. When you want to work on a specific chakra, this for me is the thing that, just helps me right away. So that's why I want to share it with you. When you're listening to a meditation like I made, when we're talking about all the chakras, there's plenty of different kinds of tones that are meant, it basically just put the love tone on, or put the, right, you can use the heart chakra tone with any kind of work. It doesn't necessarily mean, oh, you're not really focused on this type of work, but I prefer, and this is a matter of preference, when you're doing a meditation, to use the love vibration, strengthens the heart or something like that. The 639, right? 639 or 538 stimulates love, restores equilibrium. There's so many healing frequencies out there that you might find some that are more to your liking and some that are less. Personal preference. Okay. I also gave you a little crystal for healing chart here. And you can do whatever you want. Like I didn't realize that all through college I wore a turquoise necklace. And guess what my major was in? Journalism and film. I was a communications major, of course. And so turquoise, I was really drawn to that. And I was also really drawn to the root chakra ones, the hematite. And I wore a bracelet, a hematite bracelet. And I think that was protection. That was protection for me. I wasn't really into the rose quartz or any of that stuff during college, but I remember definitely having turquoise right as I was studying that. So some of you might ask about Kundalini awakening, because we are talking about energy that's moving up your spine, that's moving up this meridian or this gateway. And so I just put some stuff in here. There's a book called Transcendence Calling. It is your consciousness. The thing I want to point out, so I love this quote of hers. It is your consciousness. Spiritual teacher and author, Transcendence Calling, Monique Rebel puts it. Everything that you are, that you think, that you remember, that you can visualize, anything, that is your consciousness. And that is Kundalini. That is the consciousness energy that's within you. The chakras are like gates to the dimensions of perception. So for many, blocked chakras do not allow Kundalini energy to flow. So if we're talking about twin flame and we're talking about Kundalini and all of this kind of practice can help you work with that. I do recommend, if you have a thing for Kundalini and you want to have this experience, I do recommend you work with someone who knows what they're doing, because this can be a little bit physically taxing. I'm just going to say that. So don't try this at home. But a lot of people have spontaneous Kundalini awakenings, and that's something that happens to people, and you hear a lot of stories about that. But I'm just going to say, if you're going to try to work on that, work with someone who knows what they're doing. As with any of the ayahuasca, the plant medicines, all of that, work with someone who knows what they're doing. So for true spiritual wisdom and awakening to take place, all chakras must be clear and in balance. That doesn't mean forever and ever, amen. You can have a pure, clear expression or receiving of information, and then the next day you're like, ugh, I lost it. It's okay. Just, you can get it back. It's okay. So I'm not going to go through this. I want to start answering your questions and stuff, but I want to kind of connect this up a little bit, because in astrology, I talk a lot about North Node, and North Node and South Node is our karmic mission. Chiron is our wounded healer, and that shows us the thing we're here to, the medicine we're here to give to the rest of the world. So past life karma, ascendant, your ascendant and your past life indicators in your chart. A lot of these things can make your work with connecting to the 8th chakra, connecting to your higher self, connecting to the angelic realms. You can bring all of these things together and kind of cross-reference them, because while I activated that North Node mission when I started this channel, it can evolve. The mission evolves. It's ever changing. So if you kind of go out of phase and you're like, I forget what I'm doing here, sometimes astrology can bring you back. Sometimes this work can bring you back. sometimes working with someone or working on the Akashic records can bring you back into line. So the cool thing is working with the Merkaba, working with the, or Merkaba, however you pronounce it, and working with, I have Saint Germain has been a big influence in my life and my experience of spiritual awakening, and working with the violet flame. I did a meditation not too long ago about that. So all of these tools are simply a way to get you in alignment so you can receive the information, open to your spiritual gifts, and be drawn toward what you're doing here. All right. These are all tools that can help you get there.
All right, I hope that class was helpful to you. If you're looking for any other classes, I teach quite a few, especially about karmic mission and purpose, North Node classes, and astrology and other things. There's a link here in the description box for all the classes that I teach, all the classes that are already online, just awaiting your attention. And I hope to see you there.